Liverpool have been linked with a number of midfielders so far in this summer transfer window, as it looks increasingly likely and necessary that the Reds strengthen in the middle of the park. With top target Aurelien Tchouameni set to agree terms with Liverpool's Champions League final opponent Real Madrid, it looks like the Reds will miss out on the top young French midfield talent. But fear not, as in this video we'll be breaking down, analysing and comparing 4 like-for-like options across the midfield who could do a job equally as good as Tchouameni in the Liverpool midfield. We'll begin with a transfer everyone would love to see in Borussia Dortmund and England star Jude Bellingham. Bellingham is set to become Dortmund's main man after Erling Haaland left to join City this transfer window and is one of the top talents in the world right now. However, Borussia Dortmund have publicly come out and said they will not sell Bellingham this window. As to be expected when losing their best player in Haaland, it would be a huge blow for them to lose their top 2 talents in one transfer window. That said, the Reds could shock everyone and break the bank to move in for the Englishman this window. However, a move in 2023 seems far more likely at this stage. The influence Bellingham could have upon the Liverpool midfield would be remarkable. With a class and maturity to his game way beyond his years, he often dominates the midfield for Dortmund. With great physical presence, speed, defensive capabilities and of course an eye for goal, he is the perfect signing for Jurgen Klopp's midfield. Last season, Bellingham recorded a pass success ratio of 83.7%, a dual success rate of 51.1% and completed 96 dribbles, not to mention winning a whopping 91 fouls, showing how much opposition midfielders struggle against the 18-year-old. Whilst it's clearly the move we'd like to see, it seems almost impossible that the move will happen this summer, so perhaps the following options are more likely and attainable for Jurgen Klopp. Calvin Phillips is a persistent Liverpool transfer rumour that it's safe to say divides the fanbase. Phillips was an integral part of England's Euro 2020 run, where, alongside Declan Rice, he really announced himself as one of Europe's top midfielders. Having spent pretty much the entirety of Leeds' tumultuous season on the sidelines with injury, he's almost the forgotten man of that England Euros side and has fallen off the transfer rumour radar until now. Phillips is an out-and-out number 6, dubbed the Yorkshire Pirlo. He would be a holding midfield alternative to Fabinho, who clearly struggled towards the end of this season with an injury due to lack of rotation. The problem with Phillips compared to the likes of Tchouameni and Bellingham is that he would be considerably less effective in a box-to-box role for the Reds, with it likely that they will opt for a versatile midfield signing to cover both the number 6 role and the number 8 position. That said, it's not entirely impossible that the Reds would make 2 midfield signings, with Phillips brought in as the more defensive midfield cover and another more suited to the more advanced position brought in also. Last season, Phillips' numbers slightly dropped, but that's to be expected following a long-term injury and returning to a considerably poorer side, who last term narrowly avoided the drop. That said, a passing accuracy of 82%, a dual success of 45.5%, and a 58.3% dribble success ratio are still very good numbers for a highly talented midfielder who will return next season and demonstrate the ability he possesses, which helped Leeds finish in the top half in their debut Premier League season. Of course, the main problem with Phillips though is the dreaded English tax on transfer fees, and being a Leeds lad born and bred, it's unlikely he'd leave the club easily, or that the club would lose such an asset for anything lower than £60 or £70 million, which may put Julian Ward and his staff off tabling an offer. Combine this with him entering his prime years at the age of 26, plus his recent injury record, it may not seem particularly appealing, though it's clear to see the talented, deep-lying playmaker would be a welcome addition should the Reds cough up a big fee. Next up on this list is one not all of you may be familiar with, in Ibrahim Sahra of PSV Eindhoven and the Ivory Coast. In a breakthrough season for the Ivorian, he at times carried a PSV midfield to a Dutch Cup win, a title race challenge where they took Ajax all the way, and painfully they were knocked out in Europe by Leicester, who scored 2 late quarter-final goals to progress. But it's Sahra's performances in midfield that are the story of PSV's season. A huge physical presence in the middle of the park, dominating proceedings with a skill set and passing range that is very impressive. Compared to Tchouameni, Bellingham and Calvin Phillips, Sahra's stats are levels above those players. An impressive 86.1% pass ratio from more than 2,000 passes this season, combined with a 69.1 dribble success ratio, is up there with the best midfielders on the continent, let alone being so impressive for someone who stands at 6'3". 3 goals and 2 assists from holding midfield are also decent numbers, plus he created 32 chances from the same position, which is almost unheard of from a holding midfielder. But it's in defence where Sahra truly stands head and shoulders, quite literally, amongst Europe's midfielders. He holds a dual success rate of 68.2%, an aerial duel success ratio of 76.3%, whilst making 74 interceptions and 95 tackles across a 29-match season. Massive numbers. Granted, the standard in the Eredivisie is lower than that of the top 5 leagues, hence him being able to stand out more. But Sangare is definitely capable of holding his own amongst Europe's elite and will be on the move this summer, meaning he is someone that Liverpool should definitely be looking at. Though a defensive midfielder by trade, he would be playable as a number 8 and would be a much more affordable option for Jurgen Klopp compared to other rumoured targets. Plus, at 24 years of age, there's plenty of time to turn him into one of the world's great midfielders. Completing this list is a player very different to the aforementioned Calvin Phillips and Ibrahim Sahra, in Inter Milan and Italy midfielder Nicolo Barella. Nico had an amazing breakthrough year in 2021 with Inter and the Italian national team, establishing himself as one of the continent's best midfielders as he guided the Nerazzurri to a Scudetto and was a crucial part in Italy's Euro-winning side. And he wasn't done there. He continued his fantastic form into this season, racking up 13 assists and 4 goals, though an unfortunate injury in the middle of the season derailed both his and Inter's league title and Champions League hopes. Though it wouldn't be a silver-whale-less season for both Inter and Barella, as he scored the opening goal in their 4-2 Coppa Italia final win over Juventus. The matches Barella missed were the last 16 ties against Liverpool. If any of you are trying to recall him featuring against the Reds across those ties, it's safe to say it would have been a considerably more difficult task for Jurgen Klopp's men. Barella is a box-to-box midfielder by nature. Small in stature, but absolutely rapid, he zips around the park and is the perfect link between defence and attack. A high pass success ratio of 85.1% combined with 13 assists and 64 chances created demonstrate his ability as a playmaker, whilst his high dribble success ratio of 67.8% shows how quickly he can transition play through the midfield. Granted, given his stature, he doesn't dominate in the air, but still boasts a dual success ratio of 54.1% and made 63 tackles across 36 matches this season, showing he is more than capable of holding his own when defending the midfield. It's arguable that someone of Barella's style is exactly what Jurgen Klopp's midfield needs, someone who can play the box-to-box role and create chances, whilst also having the pace and tenacity to burst forward and score goals or press higher up the pitch, and it's difficult to find someone more ideal than Barella. Though, of course, the problem lies in the transfer fee. Valued at $63 million by Transfer Market and having recently signed a contract extension with Inter until 2026, it would take a considerably large fee to bring the Italian to Merseyside, though it's undeniable he would have a huge impact. Which of these players do you think are most suited to Liverpool's midfield? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to subscribe.